Hi, this is Chris. You'll remember me from last week's training. I'm your Tony Robbins coach that's going to be working with you for this month. I'm covering the ultimate edge from the Breakthrough app. And today we're doing frequently asked questions that I get when I'm coaching my clients. So I'm going to cover a couple of those. I've also been watching the questions coming in from the group here. So I'm going to answer those, give you some distinctions, and then at the end of today, I also have a gift for you. So I've captured these here today. Now, the first one that I oftentimes get, and I've seen in various different ways popping up in the group, is the question of, how do I get rid of my old beliefs and values so that I can make room for the new ones? That's a fantastic question. And again, whether it's one-on-one coaching that I'm doing or I've been seeing it in this group, it comes up quite often. Now, the simple way is we want to be aware of what are those old beliefs. So that's the first piece. And in fact, I've captured this because it's going through the journal and page in the Ultimate Edge workbook, page 48. It's at the towards the end of day 4, personal power. There's actually some exercises that you can do. And keeping it quite simply, I'm a big fan of celebrate. So the idea that you know that you have some old beliefs or values that in this time in your life aren't serving you, that's a huge win. It's a huge win. So we want to just celebrate the idea that you, unlike most people, are taking a look at what's going on for you and seeing, hey, does this support me and who I'm becoming and the experiences that I want to be having? Does it work for me? So that's the first piece, is celebrate. Oftentimes what I see is people get stuck in the idea that their beliefs aren't working for them, or they've got beliefs that are limiting them. And we don't want to do that because it's an easy place to stay stuck, but instead celebrate the idea that you're present enough with yourself and in your life and clear enough with what you want to know that this specific thing is not working for you. Then what you're going to want to do is we're going to decide or get some leverage as to why changing right now is a must. Why does it matter to you to change? And you're going to want to capture those. You're going to hear this quite frequently, whether it's working with myself in my training or some of the other coaches that are going to be sharing some distinctions about other programs in the Breakthrough app, is this idea of we want to capture our thoughts, get these things out of your head and then onto paper. Now, the second piece is you're going to want to interrupt, and you'll see this in the exercise, interrupt any limiting patterns. Now, what does interrupting any limiting patterns mean? It means we're pattern creating and doing creatures. That's what we are. What's great about this is there's only 3 different patterns that you can interrupt. Now, we've got patterns of physiology. That's what you're doing with your body. Patterns of focus and beliefs. And then finally, patterns of language. And an easy way to do that is when you notice yourself going into one of those old beliefs, we want to scratch the record. We want to do something unique. We want to interrupt that pattern. So that could be a drastic change in physiology. That's oftentimes we talk about getting a powerful state. It could be jump up, stand up. I've got a trampoline in the other room here that I move my physiology. It could be capturing empowering beliefs or beliefs that are going to move you towards the new thing that's most important to you. And then be real conscious of language. Language oftentimes will hold us back, but it'll also set us free. So we want to make sure that we've got empowering language that helps us minimize the belief that we don't want or the value that we don't want and empowers or maximizes the one that we do. Second question that I get oftentimes, I'm starting with people and I'll work with a client for 12 months, oftentimes multiple years. And the question that oftentimes comes up, because we're in coaching anyways, and you also, most people in life, and you wouldn't be here if you weren't interested in experiencing even more, feeling more, being more, doing more, contributing in the community here. And so I know that you're passionate about growth, but it's this question of, well, how often should I or will I be revisiting my outcomes, my goals? And I always like to share, specifically in coaching and in life, when you think about it, we are in the gap business. And what I mean by that is, in life, we're constantly growing. So we're opening gaps and we're closing gaps. And so with goals or outcomes or results that we're after, what we want to be doing is we want to set those results, set those outcomes. And then as we're getting close to accomplishing that, we're going to want to open that gap again. We don't want to wait until we hit our result or hit our outcome before we start to say what's next. Key distinction here is, it doesn't mean that we're always waiting to celebrate. The reality is, what builds massive momentum is we celebrate all along the way. We celebrate the journey, the journey that we're on. So the answer to that is as often as you need to, as often as you need to. And I find it good practice, and I know some of the other coaches that are going to be with you are going to talk about time of your life and some of the other programs. I find it great practice to see my goals and outcomes on a daily basis. And then that way I can be checking in to see how close am I to this, and do I need to set what's next? The other question I get anytime that I'm working with the client going through Ultimate Edge, and I've seen the community here sharing it with each other, what's my favorite part of Ultimate Edge? What's my favorite part of the Ultimate Edge? And that's a challenging one to put into a statement. And if I picked the piece that I am oftentimes drawn back to over and over again, that's impacted my life in crazy ways, and also clients' lives in crazy ways, is the morning rituals. The hour of power. And specifically within that, one of my favorite things is just that you're getting moving, you're setting your day up with the hour of power, 30 minutes to thrive, 15 minutes to fulfillment. But what it is this consistent taking time for yourself. And for me personally, taking time for myself. Now, I use priming. That's my one foundational piece. I'm always adding different parts to it or taking pieces away. But I'm always priming, because it starts me off focused on what's most important, and really fills me with gratitude every single morning. And it's like taking a shower. It sets the day off for power. So I'm always priming, which leads into the next question. Is people say, oh, what should I do? Is it priming? Is it incantations? What do you recommend? Well, I recommend both. When I see the most progress with my clients, it's when they're focused on themselves and they're really focused on the piece that matters. And you'll see this not just in Ultimate Edge, but across all the programs that you do with Tony, and everything that Tony shares is this idea of 80% psychology, 20% mechanics. So in the Ultimate Edge, are there a ton of mechanics for you, a ton of strategies? There are. And Tony's going to keep bringing you back to this idea of psychology. It's psychology. And when we do priming and when we're doing incantations, what we're doing is we're building our psychology. We're building our powerful mindset. We're building this person that we're designing, the person who we really are at our core. We're tapping into that piece. And when I get that question, there's two different answers. One, I say both. The other answer is, well, which one are you going to do? Which one are you going to do consistently? Give yourself the gift. It's the great thing about mindset. You can't do it too much. If you want to do priming in the morning and then finish up with incantations, that works. What I know is if you do priming and then you do incantations, and at lunch you're doing incantations, in the evening you're doing incantations, all you're doing is strengthening the mindset that you actually care about and you deserve. The more the merrier. What's the best way to get started? It's very common. I get, what's the best way to get started? Start now. Do it. Take the first step. That's all it is. You just start. I'm oftentimes saying pen and paper, pencil and paper, have something to capture with. That's great. We don't live in a perfect world. So do what you'll do. Get started. Push yourself. If you've got to go back through the program a second time, do it. It's your life we're talking about. So oftentimes when I'm working with my clients, that's the biggest piece is we're getting that momentum. And remember, momentum is movement. So some movement, some action. And you wouldn't be here if you weren't into the action. So I know that you're into that. A final question, and this is just something that I had seen from a member. They had shared something to the effect of, I've got Tony's and Dean's upcoming seminar on the calendar. I just picked up Tony's book. I've enrolled in the insiders, so I'm listening to these audio products. I've got, masterminds I'm a part of. Like, there's so much stuff. How do I fit it all in? Great question. Take what you can fit in and do it. This isn't something that you're doing for a week. This isn't something that you're going to do for a month. This is taking care of yourself. It's designing your future. We did the exercise of extraordinary life. This is creating the life of your dreams. This is something that you're always going to do. You're always going to be focusing on you and making sure that you're having the fulfilled experience that you want. Tony calls it, you're living in a beautiful state, living the life of your dreams. That's not something that you sit with me or go to a seminar or a book with Tony and do it for a day or a week. Those are great catalysts in what you're doing here, the reading, the studying, the listening to programs, the doing the work, the thinking, the being with yourself. That's something that you're going to do lifelong. It's a journey. Growing is a journey. And in fact, you've probably heard Tony say, if you're not growing, you're dying. Those are a few, the top of the most commonly asked questions I get in coaching and specifically with clients going through the Ultimate Edge program. Now, I've got an additional piece that we got together and we want to share with you. It's a worksheet that you can do. You're going to find it massively powerful. What we've done is we've taken, similar to the Wheel of Life exercise, it's also got a numerical rating system for you so that you can get started in an easy way. A lot of this is us taking a step back, doing some self-reflection, seeing where you're at, and more importantly, like I shared, we're in the gap business, seeing where do you want to go, make it exciting, make it fun. I'm excited to be with you again. We're going to be doing the Ask Me Anything that's coming up next week, and see you soon.